Story time.
Story time.
I'm going to sound like an old fart here. Back in roughly 2012, it's rather 2012, 2013, 14, in that 3-year gap, somewhere in there. I was travelling on my motorcycle, my cruiser, from Campbelltown into Sydney, and I was going into the city for TAFE to become a motorcycle mechanic, and anyway, towards the end of my apprenticeship, which is I believe was about 2014, I was coming along. I was riding home just after dyno tuning my motorcycle. I pulled into a service station to get fuel, filled up, and went to go ride home. As I was riding home, it was just about to come into winter, so the sun was sitting lower than what it normally would around 5 o'clock-ish. And I was coming around a sweeping right-hand bend. And and as you come around this bend, you go up like 2 levels of hill. So it goes up, plateaus out, and goes up again. And then at the top of the hill, it flattens out. As I was coming up the first section of hill, it was fine. Along the first plateau, there's a set of lights. They were green. Sweet. Cruised on through. As I was coming up to the second part of the hill, the sun hit me square in the face. So I was, okay, I'll slow down. I slowed down to the speed limit of 60k an hour. Okay, I might have been travelling a little bit quicker, maybe 65, 60. As I was coming up the hill, I slowed down a bit because I couldn't see the traffic ahead of me. I could barely see 2 meters ahead of me, let alone a car length. So I slowed down, and as I got to the top of this hill, all of a sudden all I see is this black car pull out in front of me and stop. I seen it. I start to slow down and realise, oh no, I'm going too quick. I look up, I see the traffic lights, they're still green. I don't understand why it stopped. There could have been traffic on the other side of the intersection. Gonna definitely have to edit that out. Anyway, so as I was approaching this car that stopped in front of me, one moment again. Two's my maximum. Okay. As I was approaching this car that stopped in front of me, I realised I was going way too quick. And then my instincts kicked in. I grabbed front brake, stomped on the rear brake, pulled my clutch in, punching down gears as I was letting the clutch out to try and stop myself. Grabbed a hold of the clutch, grabbed everything I could. And I realised, crap, I'm still going too quick. And so I decided to lay the bike down. As I laid the bike down, I was still travelling at what I was told to be roughly 50 plus k's an hour. I don't believe that, because I was travelling at 60, I would have slowed down an easy 30, 40k an hour by the time I done everything. But anyway, I was told it was about 50k an hour. I dropped the bike onto its left-hand side, the bike went from this to that, and as it was sliding along the ground, the whole thing turned as it hit the back of the car. My foot on the right hand side swung around. It kicked the bumper bar or it actually went through the bumper bar of this car. I had to wedge myself out of that and then drag myself away from the bike. As I did that, I had a full jacket on, a full motorcycle protection or textiles jacket. And as I pushed myself away, I didn't realise that my arm had actually caught on fire. So, and as I slid away and stood up, I could feel something warm on my arm. Didn't know what it was. I looked down and here is my arm on fire. I just looked at it and I just wiped like that with my motorcycle glove on, just wiped it off and it went out. I took a couple of steps back and seen the bike itself caught on fire as I moved away. I had a tradie behind me who had a fire extinguisher in his car, and he came along and he extinguished the bike. As he was doing that, I was yelling at the driver the driver of the car that I hit, to get out of the car, it's on fire. So he jumps out of the car and he just runs straight to the side of the road. I kid you not, I've never seen anyone move that quick. And as everything has settled down, the dust had settled, I went to go walk to the closest side of the road where I was. And I came along, and as I took one step towards the gutter, and this guy in a Volvo X90, I believe it was. If you don't know what that is, it's like a SUV wagon type of vehicle. He came past me and almost hit me again. So, and I stood behind the car and I just put my hands out. It's like I was waiting for another car to come and smack me in the back. Nothing happened, so I kept walking towards the gutter. Once I got to the gutter, I had a backpack and obviously my helmet on. I kept everything on. I sat down. I laid back onto my backpack and I just stayed there. Once I started to get a little bit uncomfortable with having the backpack on, I took it off. I laid there still with my helmet on, still with my jacket, boots, gloves, everything on. I left the helmet on only because I didn't know if I had possibly had any spinal injuries. And it was just a safety thing. I didn't want to remove anything or take anything off myself until I had the okay from a paramedic. Now, and how the in particular motorcycle helmet that I had my accident in. Now, I don't know if you guys could see it, but see how it flattens out there? That there is designed to keep your head and neck straight and level if you ever have an accident. And I didn't want to take this off, just in case I did have any spinal injuries. So anyway, I had a firefighter come up to me and make sure I was okay. He done basic first aid on me, just to make sure I was still conscious, which I obviously was because I can remember talking to him about it and about the incident and what happened and everything like that. And then all of about half an hour later, I had a first response ambulance officer come up to me and do exactly the same thing. They touched my toes, my fingers, my legs, just to see if there was anything rather broken or if I couldn't feel them touching me. I could feel everything. The only thing that was wrong with me was I had a cork leg, which is understandable from having a 350 kilo bike land on it, which is quite light, honestly. Or light of an injury. So they took off my gloves. They didn't take off my boots because they were happy that there was no injuries there. They were okay with my legs and everything like that. Then they came along and said, "Look, would you like to remove your helmet?" And I've gone, "Yeah, okay, no worries. If you guys think it's safe." And they're going, "Yeah, it's safe. You're okay." Alright, so I undone the helmet, took it off, sat it beside me, and then they come along and said, "Okay, you're all sweet." They checked out the top of my head, around my head, to make sure that there wasn't anything there. And then they said, "Look, do you need any more help?" I said, "No, I'm sweet. Thank you very much." The one thing I didn't like about it was that they kind of left me there on the side of the road, and I was still an easy hour or so away from home. So I had to with the last maybe 5% worth of battery I had left on my phone, I had to call my mum and let her know what happened. Now, if any of you guys do know my mum, you guys will know that she's never liked motorcycles. So for me to have an accident on a motorcycle was like all hell broke loose. Now, thankfully that my brother was living at home with us still at the time. So, and he drove my car with mum to where they thought I was. I told him I was on Parramatta Road in Sydney. Majority of you would know where that is, the exact suburb. I've forgotten over the time. It's been that long since I've gone along there again. But yeah, Parramatta Road coming out of the city. I was going along there and then, yeah, it happened. Anyway, all my mum heard was Parramatta. She didn't hear the road section. So, yeah, she dragged my brother into the car, and then they drove all the way to Parramatta, which was about half an hour away from where I actually was. And they were calling me up, "Where are you? Where are you?" Yeah. I said, "I'm on Parramatta Road, not Parramatta." And mum's clicked. She's gone, "Oh, I know exactly where that is." And so they've raced to me. It was starting to get to about 6, 7 o'clock at night by the time they were anywhere close to me. By the time they actually found me, it was 9 o'clock at night. And I was walking up and down Parramatta Road trying to look for the car. And I eventually found him, and I pointed to a side street. I said, "Go down there, I'll meet you there." I pointed down there, that they stopped there. I got to him, and I kid you not, I never seen my mum move so fast. She literally crash tackled me to the ground. I'm pretty sure I had more injuries from mum crash tackling me than my motorcycle accident. And she's come along, she counted all my fingers, all my toes to make sure I was 100%. And I love her for it, but come on, Mum. Mom! And I understand it was a scary experience, especially for my mum to just all of a sudden get a phone call to say, "Oh crap, my little boy has just been in an accident." And it was terrifying for me because I didn't know where I was 100%. So, and that was terrifying. I didn't know if anyone was coming, if anyone would stop to help. A random limping guy walking up and down the street. And yeah, so, and anyway, we drove back home, and Mum said to me, "Are you hungry?" I said, "Mum, I am starving." So the first thing we do is pull straight over to the first KFC that we find. And I'd get the biggest meal I could ever have. What was it? No, actually, it was my first Zinger burger I ever had. Was out of that accident. And yeah, the next couple of weeks or so flew past, and I had a phone call from the people who towed my motorcycle, asking me what's going on. I said to them, "Look, the insurance company are gonna come out and assess it. Is it okay if I can take off some of the old parts that were on the motorcycle at the time and put on the original stock parts?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine, as long as you're replacing them with the original parts. It's got to be a complete motorcycle when it leaves." I was like, "Yeah, sure, sweet." I took all the aftermarket gear that I had on it, put on all the standard gear. Not a problem. Not a problem. It was sweet. And I was very thankful for that, because a lot of the time they don't allow that. So, and even some of them parts that I had on that bike, I used on my new bike, which is exactly the same model. Exactly the same bike. Just newer. So, and I put them parts on the new bike as a reminder to myself to say, look, it's going to happen eventually. And I got away with it. Anyway, that's enough of this. It's going to be a fairly lengthy video by the looks of it. So, and please like, subscribe. If you want to see more or hear more stories that we've got, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and tell us what you want to see. Alright? I'll catch you all later. See yous.